Minnesota Vikings head coach?
I would give them
It's
your
not my
phone
turn.
number.
You would say
At the
no.
very least.
You
Yes,
would
because
say no.
I am not what's best for that franchise. I am self-aware enough to admit that. There's no way that Jeff Saturday got that phone call and went, you know what? Goddamn right. I am the best possible option for the Indianapolis Colts. There's no fucking way.
Maybe they don't
You need more
that.
confidence, G.
I don't know. Well, I'll say that. But secondly, maybe they understand who else is in that coaching staff. Jeff Saturday, I'm sure, didn't walk in and call plays. Right? They probably have a decent OC, a decent DC. They have position coaches. Typically, NFL staffs have 25 coaches. Maybe they need somebody with a little bit of gumption. Frank
should do our
Reich
sharing.
seemed like a cardboard cutout on the sideline at times.
Yeah.
Will you stop getting raw on Nicholas and share the show, please? And hey, welcome to anyone who might be joining us for a pre-show argument. But we have a great show today.
Yep, started our sports talk a little early if you
Yep.
got on.
Yep, and but it's going to be a good one. Good vibe in the studio today.
Yeah. Mike was here at 10:30.
And Mike was acquitted of those heinous charges that were leveled at him, so we don't
Yeah.
have to worry about those anymore.
I'm so glad you're going to get to coach high school sports again.
You deserve to be within 500 feet of a school, man.
Thanks, guys. I
Yeah,
really
we're
appreciate
just
it.
okay. That was a
Amazing
joke,
human
a
beings.
bad
It
joke
was a
on my
bad
behalf.
joke. It was a bad joke.
I apologize to the entire. Never mind. I'm just gonna stop.
Quit while we're behind.
To the
Quit while we're
universe.
behind.
Now, Nick, for the segment today was Would You Rather?
Yeah.
I have like 4 logos. I have Contender Pretender. I have Mike's Minutes. More Likely. Overreactions. I don't have Would You Rather. Let me see. Just real quick, but it won't take me long. If I got it, I got it. Is it old?
Yeah, it would have been like one of the first ones I think I sent you.
Yeah. I haven't here. I'm going to show you this on screen. Let's see.
We have a big show for you guys. Just chill while we run through a couple technical difficulties.
we have-
Well, use this time to share
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And hey, why don't you tell them the phone lines are going to be open?
The phone lines are going to be open, and one
Oh,
thing I've been
damn.
noticing is I've had a lot of people actually come up to me lately and say, "Hey, I saw the show. I agreed with you on this. I disagreed with you on this." Guys, if you agree or disagree with any take throughout the entirety of your watching, just leave a comment.
And I respond to everybody.
Yeah. Interact with us because it's a live show. So I want other people to interact with your opinion as well. That's kind of what this is for. It's a collaborative effort.
You know who leads that effort every week in our comment section? Tim Jackson. Shout out Tim
Tim is
Jackson.
awesome.
Shout out
Probably
Tim
our
Jackson.
number one fan.
Absolutely.
We should add connect the phone then, and you should come right down the phone number for me.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
It's okay, it won't take long. I already have the graphics, so just got to write it.
Sorry for the slight delay, folks.
Don't apologize to these people.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. The loyal fans, get that. Halloween is far over, and that skull right there is probably the reason we'll never do another Ghost in the Graveyard segment.
I thought that was
That
so
thing gives me the
awesome.
fucking heebie-jeebies.
Does it really?
Yes.
I thought it was just phenomenal work on my part. Okay. So we're going to have the hotline. Might as well bling it. There it is. Nick, did you write this song?
I did not. This is by DuckTales, or Chasing Tales.
Chasing Tails. It reminds me of my days in college. Let's see right here.
Yes, Gabe did have a furry fetish at one point, folks. Do not cancel him for it.
Well, that's uncancelable right now. Whoops. It's because I was attached. Okay. Now it should be parable. God, you have small, neat writing. You write just like a, and I mean this as a compliment, like a small woman, like a little Japanese lady.
Yeah, I would like to also let our audience know just ahead of time, if Mike is a little
Unreasonable.
unreasonable on the show today, He has been taking it in the shins all morning from both me and Gabe.
I disagree. I think it's been very respectful.
We're just motivating him, right?
More than what he deserves, that's for sure. No. All right. What's that? Is it paired? Thank you, Mike. I respect you. Always have.
Only saying it because he can't hear you, huh?
No. I expect you to relay the message.
Nope.
There it is. There's the number.
What? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Hey, Gabe, you're a gentleman and a scholar, and
Yes.
I'm sure your library smells of rich mahogany.
Mm-hmm.
Could you do me a favor and shut the door when you get a chance?
Of course.
Thank
of course
you,
I
sir.
will. Anything you say.
Hey, that's
Literally
a
anything.
sneak preview, guys, because Mike runs things around here.
Mm-hmm. All
Include
right.
the entirety of the show.
All right, so I'll leave that up. Are you ready to go?
I mean, is Gabe ready to go?
Gentlemen, the show belongs to you.
All right, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of Glass Half Sports. We are live here from the Twin Cities. Today is Thursday, November 17th, 2022. I am one half of your hosting duties, as always, Nick Huffman, joined by my trusted co-host, Mike Mensing. How are you doing, pal?
I'm doing well.
Are you recovered from, like, single-handedly holding your household together for, a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
All right. I know you were taking some R&R yesterday.
Yeah, there's a few things going around, winter coming in, and
Don't get me sick.
it's not, I somehow have made it through pretty much a month of a rotating illness at my house. Yeah.
Like double Dutch, just in and out.
Yeah, it's pretty much 1 week on, 1 week off
That's tough.
for all three members other than me and my household. So, it was interesting. Yesterday, I pretty much just hit a wall and couldn't do anything. So
I called
just took
Mike.
a kind of off day and back at it.
Yeah, I called Mike yesterday and he's like, "What?" I was like, "I don't know, just calling to say hey." He's like, "All right." And then like just upset that he even had to communicate with anybody yesterday, let alone a guy that he shares the airwaves with.
Yeah, it was one of those days.
It's just one of those days. What do we got for the folks today?
Yeah, we do have a big show for you guys as always. We're gonna review that amazing Vikings-Bills game from Sunday.
Yeah.
We do have our Wild Wolf Watch segment, which is going to be less exciting. Let's just say that. Segment called Buy or Sell, about a few of the NFL's better teams, technically.
Playoff type teams.
UFC 281 review,
Yep.
NFL key game preview,
Yes.
Would You Rather NBA,
Yes.
and then we're going to talk about the FIFA World Cup. So it is
Mike's
a
really
big
excited to get
show
the
today.
World Cup in here. And it's a bigger show today. Why, Mike? Because where will we be next Thursday?
I will be eating turkey and stuffing.
I will also be eating turkey, watching or preparing to watch the Vikings beat up on the Patriots.
Yes.
So that there's no show next week. But Mike, if they wanted to follow us on any of our platforms this week, so that way they can get the content that we will post over Thanksgiving, what platforms could they find us on?
Yeah, as always, guys, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and Twitch.
If we get one Twitch
So we
comment.
do have a Twitch. All we need to run the Twitch and actually upload videos of us gaming
Mike,
is one
primarily.
comment.
Do you,
One comment.
Do you guys want to know what I'm gonna eat?
What are you going to eat?
Cat.
Interesting. Interesting choice.
That's, yeah.
Some people choose ham, some people choose turkey, and then there's comedians. With that, we're going to start our show today with a Vikings at Bills review. We are open for calls right now, so if we say anything that you guys want to weigh in on, please let us know.
Yeah.
We do have the number, Gabe, for them.
763-528-8527.
Yep. Join the debate.
That's right.
So, thoughts on the Bills game? I'll let you kind of.
To everyone, including Mike, that wasn't sold on the Vikings being a top 4 team in the NFL because they hadn't beat anybody. Nana nana boo boo, I told you so. This was probably the greatest Viking, like the best or most impactful Vikings road win since what, 98? Against Green Bay?
We had some impactful road wins in 09 as well.
It was yeah, you're right. In 09, there were some big ones. I will give you that. But to take a team that seemed to be, we got our first caller. Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Glass Half Hotline, how can we help you?
So, how long before the Vikings lose a game because our kicker misses an extra point? And would you rely on him in the playoffs?
Ooh, that is a good question. Mike, would you trust Greg Joseph in the playoffs right now?
No. Flat out no.
I don't
we've been
think-
getting away with it.
Yeah, I would definitely say that we've been getting away with it a little bit. But I don't think the
So,
Vikings.
how long before they make a move? Or
I don't-
do they?
I don't think you do. I think you kind of got to stick with them at this point because the team, for me, it's team chemistry. The entire team seems to be playing for one another to the point to where if Joseph goes out there and misses a 52-yarder or botches on an extra point, the defense has his back enough to go out and then make a play, or the offense will get, that's the one thing that I think keeps him on the roster right now.
The one thing that is encouraging about how he's performing is he does miss a field goal late in a game that we need it, or an extra point late in a game that we need him to make.
Absolutely.
But he does hit the field goal in overtime as well
To win it.
put the pressure on the Bills
Yep.
to do something as well. So we're not seeing the Blair Walsh effect where if he misses one, it turns into 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
He is rebounding, which is encouraging.
Yeah, and I think Matt Daniels, the special teams coach, has done a phenomenal job and will probably have some of these kinks ironed out come the end of the season. That's one of the things I like most about the Vikings coaching staff right now is they are getting a chance to see problems, they are identifying them, and they are fixing them. Like it's consistent progress.
Sure.
So,
Well, thank you very much for calling. We appreciate you listening in on the show.
absolutely. Take care.
Anytime, guys. Keep up the great work.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
So, yeah.
So I'll say this, though.
Go ahead.
I think we played well enough to stay in the game,
Mhm.
which is encouraging.
Yep.
However, there's a lull that happens with the Vikings in the second/third quarter
Sure.
in a majority of their games thus far.
We kind of talked about this
And
yesterday.
we did. But I will say, if it's not for Josh Allen not being able to convert a QB sneak from the 1-yard line, we do lose that football game as
Sure.
well. And the odds of that happening are not. It goes back to my entire argument with this Vikings team: is it sustainable?
I mean, are
So
we just
scoring
gonna-
on the very first drive and then taking 3-4 drives off, is that sustainable? You go down 2-3 scores against a good team like Philadelphia, and it's a little tougher to come back from that. It seems.
Who do you
than-
think is
Were
the
we
better
just
team
down?
right now? Yeah, who do you think the better team right now is, Buffalo or Philadelphia?
Philadelphia? Buffalo's third in their division, Nicholas.
Okay, sometimes stupid stuff does get said on this show, but I will continue.
Buffalo has 4 losses and is third in their division behind New York and Miami.
I got you, and I understand. I understand where people's hesitancy is going to come from, right? Like, it's all close games? Is it sustainable, guys? This is the NFL product right now. It's going to be 1-score games in the fourth quarter, but if you want to, and Mike has talked all season about, hey, are the Vikings checking boxes? Okay, what have we seen from the Vikings this year, and then have all of it pretty much displayed on that game last Sunday? Physicality, we have that. You thought the Vikings, and me included, were going to be too soft, a indoor dome team to go outside on a team against a team that you're not familiar with, that is incredibly physical, and go blow for blow with them. They did it minus Dalvin Tomlinson. They did it minus Cam Dantzler. Christian Darrisaw misplays, and Zadarius Smith misplays throughout the course of that game, just being dinged up. You saw guys like Duke Shelley step up and make massive plays in the secondary
I will
down the
say
stretch.
you can't really say that we had so many injuries. They had probably
their
the
entire
same amount. if
Yep,
not
their
more
secondary was
injuries,
out.
right? So
I will give you that. But then, so through that, did we get to see that the Vikings probably have a little bit more depth than one would assume? I would think so, because guys did seem to step up and play well.
Here's the thing, too. Like, was our win in Buffalo lucky?
No.
You,
No.
the odds of Josh Allen fumbling a snap on the 1-yard line.
The odds-
How many
the odds-
times does that happen, Nick?
The odds of
How
that,
many times does that happen out of 100?
rarely, but the odds also
Okay.
of that catch not being reviewed on the sideline.
Okay, so it's an incomplete pass. They still have like 40 seconds. That argument, I'm sorry, I've seen it all over social media, is kind of dumb to me. It's like 3rd and 10 now, or 3rd and 8 now, and it's stop clock. They have still have,
Listen,
like, 40
I
seconds.
get what you're saying, but it's
The odds of Josh Allen fumbling on the 1 are very low.
okay.
The odds of Josh Allen having the ball on the 20-yard line going in and not scoring, I would say, are also low. When you
I would
combine-
disagree with you because the Buffalo Bills right now have the highest turnover percentage as an offense inside the red zone in the entire NFL.
Okay. You still combine those two percentages, it's the odds of us getting out of that game with a win are pretty low. Now, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good,
Sometimes.
but we were more lucky than good on Sunday, in my opinion. And we're 8-1. I'm riding the wave.
Are you?
Yes. But I'm a Vikings fan. I've seen everything. I'm holding my breath. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I'm just going to continue down this checklist, by the way.
That's fine.
Physicality. Would you agree? Depth.
At times.
How about depth?
At times.
Okay. How about the ability to go get the explosive play? Those numbers are down in the NFL, across the NFL
Justin
right
Jefferson's ability to go get the big play, yes.
now. Dalvin Cook, who's got 3 for 50 plus already this year. Okay. How about
who is saying that we need to give Dalvin Cook more
you?
touches, by the way?
How about discipline as a team? How many penalties do the Vikings ever seem to rack up?
They're
Hardly
pretty
any.
disciplined.
Okay. How about a team that has the clutch gene, who you can put down 17 points, and when it matters, they're still going to wind up in the ball game? Okay. How about a pass rush? Okay. They've got all of the pieces necessary, and they just continue to show people. And yeah, go ahead, continue to doubt them like Vegas
I'm not
has
doubting
done,
them. I'm saying
putting
they're a
them as
good football
1.5
team, but
point
they're
underdogs
leaving
at
points.
home.
Well, I disagree with that. Now we're changing the subject. All I'm saying about the Bills game, and it's somewhat encouraging too.
Yes,
but
very.
we didn't play that well.
Oh, okay, so the Vikings played at 85% and took out your preseason Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to stand up in the Vikings press room and just be like, "Hey, we're fucking over here."
What are you looking for out of a football team exactly?
Yeah, good lord.
Not taking 2 of the 4 quarters off.
Mike wants perfection. And I think it's a game
I
of
don't want
adjustments.
perfection.
His favorite team is the 76 Dolphins, and it's the only team he likes.
The 72 Dolphins.
72. Yeah, I know.
But okay, so
Fuck.
the point differential. I was talking to Nick about this. The point differential. Gabe is screaming curse words in the back off mic.
The fact that I heard that through my headphones.
The 98 Vikings had a point differential spread of 11.8 points.
Yes.
Okay. These Vikings have a point differential spread of 4.
Okay.
It's a little bit different than us just dominating teams and being at 8-1. Now, we are winning close games. We are showing that we have that ability. My question, again, we're a top 5 team in the NFL. We've shown that.
Yes.
Is that sustainable? Is my only question.
I really do, because I only think the team I think it is because the team is only going to get better. Hawkinson's only going to get more familiar with the offense. It seems like Kevin O'Connell has started to figure out the run game. Like that fourth quarter drive where he's got it stacked up and we go Dalvin for 10, Dalvin for 10, Dalvin for 10. The offensive line, all of them in great position. On the 81-yard touchdown run, Justin Jefferson straining to get out there and make a fucking crucial block in that moment. The things are all moving in the right direction. And the Vikings have not played that perfect ball game yet. Good. Because I could promise you, and I told you this yesterday too, if you were to line Minnesota up in Philly in a primetime game this week, I think the Vikings beat Philly, and I think it's convincing. It's a different ball club than you saw at the beginning of the year.
Let's not talk about Philly just yet. Let's actually pivot to another NFC East team because that's who's next on the schedule.
We got 2 games that we got to
so
cover here.
Vikings come back to Minnesota
Yes.
to face off against the Dallas Cowboys. 3:25 kick. It's going to be a raucous crowd at US Bank. It's probably going to be half and half because the Cowboys travel really
super
freaking well.
I went to that the Halloween game with Cooper Rush last year, and there were just as many Cowboys fans in the stadium as Vikings fans. So if you are a Vikings fan, you have not bought a ticket, figure it the fuck out, because there was way too many Dallas fans here last year.
And then, so we'll spend a few minutes on this game. We do have to talk about the Patriots coming to town as well on Thanksgiving because we will not be on Thanksgiving. So first of all, the Dallas Cowboys, we do have another caller.
Good timing. Like hitting all the buttons, man.
Hello.
We live?
We are live. Who are we speaking with?
Awesome. Your best friend, Jordan Dino.
Oh, what's going on, buddy? How are you today?
Doing great. Putting in some work, watching your guys' show, being entertained, can't complain.
There we go. You got some Vikings questions for us.
Vikings, and not just the Vikings. Going to talk about the Eagles a little bit too. And I just want to say to Mike's point about Vikings winning luckily over the Bills, I have to disagree. The Vikings don't win games like that out of luck, but there was some lucky plays that obviously happened. Yeah, there's like some lucky plays happen. That's how the ball breaks. But there's also plenty of penalties where the Bills got saved by the refs missing a lot of things. So could have fallen either way. Regardless, good teams come out on the winning side. But here's my question, and it's going to talk about long-term Vikings, not just this year what happens, but the following next year. You're watching a lot of top receivers go out this year between Chase, Kupp, Mike Williams, injury-wise, and because for Kupp, seeing an extreme amount of volume, eventually you're going to get dinged up and get hurt. With the Vikings moving on this next year, potentially not having Delvin, maybe no Adam Thielen. We don't really have a good 1B to Justin Jefferson. Are you guys kind of worried that we kind of fall into what the Rams are like, where it becomes just forcing the ball to Justin Jefferson and we don't really have another game plan for the future?
So I think it's interesting because I think the culture of the organizations are so different, right? I know everybody would worry the more touches you get, obviously, the more susceptible you are to.
It's the Christian McCaffrey curse, right?
Right. Same thing with Saquon Barkley or any of these guys that get a lot of touches. However, the Wilfs, Kwesi, and his journey through San Francisco, who has been able to create a large window for that team as they've been competitors for like 4, 5, 6 years now, behind Jimmy Garoppolo, would lead me to believe that there are contingency plans. I think we saw a little bit of that with the way they wanted to go out and address maybe getting like a Brandon Cooks during the trade deadline alongside a TJ Hawkinson, knowing they have some pieces that are going to need to leave. And I don't think the Wilfs will ever allow Kevin O'Connell to become like a fuck them picks organization and strap themselves into a situation like that, kind of like you are seeing with the Rams right now.
Yeah, to be honest, I think TJ Hawkinson is good enough right now to be a 1B, if I'm being honest. I think in the system that we run, Dalvin Cook, as good as he is somewhat replaceable. Does a different back get you what he does? Maybe not.
Right.
But he picks up 7 on those 10-yard carries.
Yep.
So it's 7, 7, 7 instead of 10, 10, 10. You can easily live with that because it's a system that doesn't really revolve around a top elite back.
Yeah.
So Dalvin Cook moving on, it is what it is. It's unfortunate because he is a top 5 back in the NFL, in my opinion. But that's just not how our offense is built.
Correct.
I think with KJ Osborne continuing to develop, he could possibly be a number 2 option next year. And like you said, I do trust Kwesi in the process, maybe a draft process or free agency. We're not going to just leave that gap on our offense.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And that's why I think, I hate to double back on it, but like the OBJ thing still does make a ton of sense to me. Not just on a 1-year deal. You know what I mean? A 2-year deal for OBJ as your bridge veteran wide receiver. If you do decide to move on from Adam Thielen or something of that sort, you're probably getting OBJ for about the same price and you're getting a better receiver. Right. Maybe a little less durable, but at least you have that option, and it's a guy that's familiar with KOC's offense. So I hope that answers your question, pal.
What's the caller's opinion? He must have a thought on it.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about it, and I was going to pretty much agree with the fact that I think Kwesi and the Wolves are going to be long-term and not fuck them picks type of players. And so they're going to make sure that the roster stays full with talent and not just go all in 1 year and leave us in the position the Rams are with nothing on their offensive side, completely decimated over there with only Cooper Kupp to go to.
Yeah, this isn't a Minnesota Wild situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're not abandoning ship to try to figure it out, or get it all down in 1 year. So appreciate the call, buddy. Feel free to call back next week or anytime you want to chat.
All right, boys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye. So Cowboys, solid running game, obviously. Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb on the outside. They do have a decent tight end, in my opinion, as well, with Dalton Schultz. Pretty star-studded defense. I'm curious, score prediction from you.
So I got it this one, 20-28 Minnesota. And this game is going to be won pretty much on the back of Micah Parsons if the Vikings allow him to win that game for him. There are some people that debate it. I will take Micah Parsons over any pass rusher in the league today, especially with his versatility. And they are going to run him up over all of your weaknesses. So I hope that Garrett Bradbury is eating his Wheaties this week and maybe wearing some lead in his shorts, because he's probably going to see a heavy dose of him over center. And then if we do not have Christian Darrisaw, you're going to see him off the left tackle a lot this week. And that could be the difference. Justin Jefferson also limited in practice yesterday with a toe injury. So there are some things that concern me with this matchup. But if you really look at it as stars versus stars, I think JJ, you can trust him to make a play over Diggs. I think you can trust Hawkinson to get free from guys like Van Der Esch. I think our offensive line is good enough against their defensive front, which has been bare in the last 2 years, to run the football if we need to. And then on the defensive side of the football, can you get to the pass rusher? It's not like they have a litany of weapons. You'll probably see Patrick Peterson man up on CeeDee Lamb, and then with some potential help from like Cam Bynum, there should be no reason why the Vikings can't win this game. And I also think it's the perfect game to have off of an emotional win like Buffalo. It's not a primetime game. It also is a team that you have to really zero in on if you want to repeat the result. It's not like you're getting the Jacksonville Jaguars the week after, who you can overlook as you look towards Thanksgiving. You're going to have to buckle your chin straps and play the Cowboys. So I think the Vikings do get a win here, and Kirk Cousins improves to like 3-6 career against the Cowboys.
As odd as it is that I'm questioning their sustainability and how they're winning games, the one thing that I think that we have over the Cowboys in our star power is our star power is a little bit more consistent.
Yes.
When you look at Justin Jefferson versus a Trayvon Diggs has the ability to just be a game changer in both ways.
100%.
Could go for a pick and miss it, give up an 80-yard touchdown. I think Patrick Peterson, in contrast, is a little bit more consistent. Will make that pick in that prime time.
And CeeDee Lamb is inconsistent.
Exactly, but
Yes.
has the ability to go off.
Correct.
So I think that consistency piece is what's going to help us win this football game.
Yeah.
And going into what I was talking about before, the more consistent we can be, the better off we'll be. So I'm actually going to say 30-27 Vikes.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than maybe the 30s, because I don't think Dallas has that punch, and Minnesota tends to play to the level.
Our defense is also 29th in the league in total yards allowed. So
also,
I think they're going to be able to move the ball. Let us know what you guys think as a score prediction for Sunday against the Cowboys. With that, we'll pivot into the Thanksgiving primetime game.
And this will come down to discipline.
Vikes versus Pats.
And I think this, 100% comes down to discipline. When you get done with the Dallas game, regardless of the result, how quickly do you get back into the training room? How quickly do you get on the film? And how quickly do you, and when you then go step out onto the field, can you not make the mental errors that Bill Belichick is going to try to force you into? This is not as good a team as they have had in the
Let's not forget
past.
that the Pats are going to be on a short week as well.
Yep, absolutely. But that's what he'll do. If he can't out-physical you because his guys are sore, he's going to turn it into a head game. It's going to be a good test coaching-wise, chess-wise for Kevin O'Connell, I believe.
I'm going to have to actually strongly disagree with you on this one. On a short week, you can't put that much in. You're going to you play a game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You basically have recovery Monday,
Mhm.
where you might be able to put a scouting report together and understand what they're coming at you with. Maybe install some things mentally. And then you have Tuesday to run it. Wednesday's walkthrough, Thursday's game again. You can't overcomplicate it. You can't.
Yeah.
So basically what that means is Thursday night games after Sunday night games, in my opinion, are the truest, like, let's just go play a football game a little bit.
I could see
And
that.
in that breath, we're a lot better than the Patriots, in my opinion. And actually, this is the game I have pegged as our first 2-score win game. And I'm going to call Vikings 24, Pats 10, and we're eating turkey late on Thanksgiving.
I had it 10-20, so
There you go.
I think the Vikings defense stands up. That New England offense has struggled this year. I expect Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter both to be meeting at the quarterback on primetime television, making our defense look real good.
Well, and we're home again,
So,
right?
yep.
Like, it's, I think the back-to-back home games, I said it at the beginning of November, Nick. If we leave November 10-1, Kirk Cousins for MVP.
Hey, and Kevin O'Connell for Coach of the Year. I mean, it's going to be
Agreed.
neck and neck between him and Brian Daboll, and then they're pretty much going to get to square off a few weeks after that for that title, probably. So,
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think about the Thanksgiving Day matchup. Again, we are not going to be on the show that
No
day.
show next week.
So we had to go kind of 2 games in one. We're going to go Wild Wolf Watch next. We're going to check in on the Minnesota Wild first. Are we doing this now a week and a half out as well then?
Not really.
We're
Listen,
going to kind of check in on the Wild.
yeah,
Right now,
not much to check
we're
in
going to be
on.
a little bit fair weather fans.
Yeah, I mean, this is the state of hockey, and we look like the state of has no idea how to put the puck in the net.
Oh, so when you trade away really good players like your second leading goal scorer in Kevin Fiala and then try to replace that with just youth that you hope to just step up, that's not the best game plan. Oh, by the way, when you have a really old goaltender who has, I will give
Played
him
well.
credit, has played well as of late after his slow start.
And me and Gabe said nobody that's that old starts fast.
But when you're that old, you're also prone to injury.
That's true.
And Fleury is now
Upper
on
body
IR, will be out for at least a week, if not more.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking like the genius over here.
I told you, you were likely going to be, I was likely going to be wrong on the Marc-Andre Fleury thing, and you continue to be wrong. on
I'm
the
going to
Rudy Gobert trade.
continue to point my fingers in the air and say yes about the Minnesota Wild because
Okay.
I was correct.
But no, it's just tough. I feel like they're on the pendulum of adjustments with the youth. You saw it where they were scoring a lot of goals and letting up a lot of goals, but now you see them clamping down on defense, but the goal scoring isn't there. Eventually, they're as I feel like the momentum, or they settle in, they're gonna find some ground, but they can't continue to slip.
We're 7-2.
Can't slip.
We're what? 4th in the Central
15
Division.
points is not good enough for this team at this point in the year. They have underperformed. I will give
They
you
have
that.
16 points,
Okay.
technically. All right, but we do start a homestand.
Yeah, a
Big
pretty
homestand.
decent one around the holidays. Getting them around their families. Pittsburgh on the 17th, Carolina on the 19th, Winnipeg on the 23rd, Toronto on the 25th, and the Arizona Coyotes.
Oh, it goes through the Edmonton Oilers even onto Thursday, December 1st, which we'll be back on the show that day,
There
guys.
we go. So I will give the Minnesota Wild 1, 2, 3 wins, maybe. I would like to see them go 500 through this stretch. Pittsburgh's pretty good. Winnipeg gives us issues from time to time, and Toronto's a good team. So Carolina, Arizona, and Edmonton would be where I see our opportunities to be.
I mean, Arizona is the bottom of the division, right? So you got to steal a game there.
Not a steal. You can't lose that one.
You got to steal the game. 'cause
You can't let a game get
Here's the
stolen
thing,
from
though.
you.
If Arizona beats us, we might just be at the bottom of the division. So
Exactly.
you got to kind of steal one there. Yeah, honestly, win 2 at least, hopefully 3. I think Pittsburgh's got our number. It's just a little bit too much star power there. Toronto scares me a little bit. They score a lot. I'm going to say, yeah, Arizona and Carolina, hopefully. It's looking pretty bleak.
Looking pretty bleak for the Minnesota Wild. They need to put some stuff on tape that makes me believe again. Because right now,
I will say, Kirill Kaprizov is still like
he's still Kirill.
amazing.
Still Kirill.
However, a hockey team is a lot more than one guy.
Kirill going Kirill.
All right, let us know what you guys think about the Minnesota Wild. Currently, not a whole lot of enthusiasm from us about them currently.
Ever. Well,
With that, let's transition to the
Timber Pups.
Yeah, the Minnesota Timber Pups.
They're bad.
They're not good. They're
They're
10th
not
in the
good.
Western Conference right now.
Yep, 10th in the Western Conference, 4-6 over their last 10 ball games. Inconsistent on offense, inconsistent on defense. Your star, your budding young superstar is disengaged in the offense. D'Lo is regressing. McDaniels hasn't stepped up. Finch hasn't been able to fix it. This is a mess. This is a mess.
As much as I hate this man, I'm going to take a page out of his playbook.
Now, if you say RELAX, I'm going to bash you. Stop. You can't have Ant shooting less than 35% from 3. You can't have the 23rd worst defense and the 13th worst rebounding team when that's what you built the program around.
Do you know we started the year last year, standings wise?
Where?
So finishing 46 and 36 with a 7 seed, we started the season 4-9.
Mm-hmm.
Relax. We're okay. We're 7-8.
No, I don't want to talk
We're
about it
7-8.
because I'm over it at the moment. I have a question for Mike during our NBA Would You Rathers that will double back on the Minnesota Timberwolves.
So do I. That works perfectly.
Yeah. So I don't know. A tough stretch coming up. They're going to get the 76ers, who are also inconsistent. The Heat, who are going to play stifling defense and probably play pretty well in transition with the way that Jimmy Buckets plays. Pacers, up and down the court team. Hornets, up and down the court team. I'm going to give them the opportunity to go 2-2, and if they do not, I might start selling some stock.
I'm going to say 3-1.
One can hope.
Sixers, Heat, Hornets.
I will give them the Pacers game and the Sixers game. I think they lose to the Hornets, and they probably lose to the Heat.
All righty. Let us know what you guys think.
Woohoo!
All right. So with that, let's transition into our new segment for today. It's called Buy or Sell.
Yeah.
So Nicholas spent a little bit of time in his free time making a graphic for this segment.
I did.
And our wonderful producer in the back is going to be putting that on the screen here shortly.
Yeah.
But what this is going to be is I'm going to take an AFC team.
You're going to take all the AFC pretty much.
And Nick's going to take the NFC.
Yep.
And we're going to try to get the other to agree with our opinion on whether or not we should buy or sell these teams' playoff legitimacy.
Yes. So they've got some time left in the schedule, but they might not be teams that have been around the playoff picture very consistently. So I'm gonna dig my heels in. You're really gonna have to do some convincing here. Let's start with the Miami Dolphins. Are you buying or selling playoff legitimacy for the Miami Dolphins?
I am buying.
Okay.
Two of top receivers in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think the head coach there has done a wonderful job in freeing up those weapons and getting those weapons to free up other things as well.
Yep.
The straight speed that they have to offer with the motions and different things that they do, it just makes their offense extremely difficult to handle. He has the head coach over there has made Tua a quarterback that is wanted around the league again.
I don't know about that.
Tua was in some MVP talks before his injury.
Stop it.
He
Continue.
was. I'm just privy to the conversations that are had around me.
Uh-huh.
Can't shoot the messenger. I'm buying this team. They're sitting atop of their division right now. There is another team in this division that we'll talk about a little bit later, and then the Bills. And that's kind of the division for me. I'm going to take the Dolphins to make the playoffs. Agree or disagree?
You got me like 80% of the way there. My only concern is Tua's health and the health of some of their explosive wide receivers who are operating in volume, and then especially looking at potentially having to play road games down the stretch in the cold. For Florida teams, usually that doesn't work out super well.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their speed, though, Tyreek Hill came from Kansas City. He's
Yeah.
used to the cold. I don't think it's as much of a problem as we think it is, especially in 2022 when they have basically hand warmers built into their jerseys and stuff. I think they're fine.
All right, I'll buy.
All
Don't
right.
make me regret it.
Dolphins to the playoffs.
Dolphins to the playoffs. All right, I've got NFC.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
I'm buying on this team, but not for the same reasons that one would think. The rest of their division is on fire. The Rams can't seem to win a ball game. The Arizona Cardinals are like
But the Niners are the best contender out of the NFC, Nick.
but they're not healthy currently. So as time expires, like everybody just keeps waiting for the Niners to get healthy, but they're running out of runway here pretty quick. The Seattle Seahawks have a formula that is going to work. We're going to run, it's old school West Coast play action football with a massive X receiver and a game managing quarterback and a lot of youth. And if you look down the schedule, they're currently Seattle is 6-4, and they have to go to the Raiders, but we all know Josh McDaniels can't coach.
He lost to Jeff Saturday, who
Yep.
shouldn't be coaching, supposedly.
No shit. And then they've got the Panthers, Jets, and Rams at home to close their schedule. And by that point in the Rams season, they might be shutting some of their stars down if they're far enough removed. That's a 10-win team.
Do you want to know what I wrote on the run sheet
What?
before you said a word?
What?
Sold.
Ooh, why?
No, I'm
sold on him. All right.
I'm sold on him.
All right, I did my job then.
I mean, you didn't have to say a word. I think it goes back to
By the Hawks
it's the formula that they had when Russell Wilson wasn't a household name.
before Pete Carroll made
They're
Russell Wilson
Tough
dangerous.
to play when their defense is on the field, and they're tough to play when their offense is on the field.
Punch you in the mouth football.
You win 9 to 10 games. That's all you have to do is finish a game or two above 500 in this league.
Yep.
and they're sitting at 6-4 in the top of their division. So, New York Jets are next. I am personally selling them and not letting them into the playoffs. And to me, the reason being Zach Wilson.
Okay.
He's not to the level yet to where I will trust him in a late game down the season to maintain his playoff push. I think Robert Saleh is ready. I think the defense may be ready.
They're real close.
I don't know if Zach Wilson is yet.
And
Now,
I don't
if
think their
this-
receiving core is either.
I just don't know about that offense, right? I will say, if this was next year, I am all in on this team.
Sure.
I just don't know if they have the pieces and the experience to hold it all together. I feel like this thing is a literal jet rolling down the runway, but there's a lot of duct tape holding this thing together.
Toothpicks, duct tape, and bubble gum.
Yep. So I'm gonna say no on the New York Jets making the playoffs.
Yeah, I was kind of out on them already, to begin with. So not a whole lot of convincing that needed to be done there. But yeah, I would sell on the Jets. They're a great Cinderella story. Just pump your brakes a little bit. You guys are going to have
That
a
Jet's going to turn
window.
into a pumpkin here soon.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly.
Your turn, buddy.
All right. I have the New York Football Giants, which a lot of people are calling the NFC East's Minnesota Vikings. They just continue to hang around. I don't agree with it. But I'm actually going to go ahead and buy or try to sell you on the New York Giants here because Brian Daboll is as advertised. In the offseason, we kind of had, before Kevin O'Connell was really an option, who did we want? It was Brian Daboll. His ability to develop and turn Daniel Jones back into a serviceable option that could be staring down a contract extension this year at 7-2 right now. Saquon Barkley has matured into an angry runner, and it suits him so much better as he continues to carry the offense. The defense hit on the picks that they had in the draft this year, so they've developed a little bit of a pass rush, and they're 7-2 with potential wins against the Commanders, Eagles, and Colts down the stretch. All three of those games at home, by the way. I think a 10-win Giants team makes the playoffs.
I'm not super sold on their strength of schedule thus far with impressive wins, if you want to call it impressive, over Green Bay. And then, to me, an impressive win over Baltimore, but that's almost kind of a matchup nightmare for Baltimore,
Yep.
just how those teams play.
Yep.
Other than that, they've beaten the Texans, they've beaten the Jaguars, they've beaten the Bears, they beat the Baker Mayfield-led Panthers. They beat the
I thought Baker was
Titans
a good
week
quarterback.
1 on like a double doink missed field goal, if I remember. Something weird happened there where they like shouldn't have won that game. Not totally sold on them. Looking at the rest of their schedule,
You're going to get to see some.
here's the thing though. I see maybe three wins.
Right, but
moving
at
forward,
7-2,
right?
a 10-win
But,
team.
Yeah, you go 10
squeeze
wins. It's they're gonna go to the normal New York Giants, right? Where they're back to that 9-7. Well, they have 1 or 2 more points than the Commanders and
Yep.
something, and they squeak in. I'm gonna say, yeah, they'll squeak in by the hair on their nose.
I will say, they're also getting a little bit of a bump from me here because Philly could slip here.
Oh, and I hope they do.
And if they do, with how tight the NFC East is, they could be staring down some very tough matchups to end the season.
Yep. And I mean, New York, Philly with a playoff game on the line. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then my final team, we're gonna go Bill Belichick led New England Patriots sitting at 5-4 currently. I am totally out on these guys making the playoffs.
It's hard for me to bet against Bill.
They're going to be an 8-9 team, 9-8 team. Either way, 9-8 doesn't make the playoffs. Just not enough.
Who
Weapons.
takes their spot?
Well, you're going to have the Bills and Dolphins out of the AFC East for
Yeah.
sure, right? You're going to have the Bengals.
Are you? We're going to get into their schedule here shortly. The Bengals this week start that stretch where it's like Tennessee, Kansas City, Buffalo, Tampa. Like they start that stretch this week.
Okay, so you're going to have Miami and Buffalo. You're going to have Kansas City, Baltimore, Tennessee. I would argue Cincinnati, and then maybe like the Chargers. But I don't think the Patriots at 5-4 currently with a tougher schedule upcoming.
I mean, I'm out. I will agree with you. I'm out on them, but there's a lot in the AFC. Bottom of the AFC playoff picture is going to be super close.
The Patriots have the Vikings, the Bills twice, and the Dolphins left. And then, other than those games, they have the Raiders.
Twice.
Yeah, the
I'm
Raiders,
out.
Cardinals. Yeah,
I'm out. They're going to piss
and
off
Jets
the fucking Patriots
and Jets,
twice.
right? So
Yes.
they have Jets, Vikings,
Right.
Bills next
Fair
3
enough.
games.
Fair enough.
I'm out.
Yep, I'm out. So that's what we got. Buying or selling on some of these playoff teams.
Let us know what you guys think about those teams. If we missed a team that you want to talk about, list them in the comments. And we'll talk about
I
them.
like this segment. Wasn't bad.
Yeah, that was fun. All right, UFC 281 recap. I'm going to take a step back real quick. I might have a couple comments here, but it's going to be more of a Gabe and Nick led segment. I'm going to give you guys about 7 minutes for all of it.
Okay, that's fair.
So make sure you I'll try to help you. There's 3 things you want to talk about. So we'll kick it off with Michael Chandler. He did get choked out, rear naked choke.
After he has
Doesn't matter how much weights he lifts. That's a tough way to go out.
Yeah, and by the way, when
Two
you
black eyes.
when you get your face absolutely flattened by a Dustin Poirier left hook, like in the first exchange, it's going to be a long night for you. Chandler just came over too late, in my opinion. Like, God, is he really fun to watch? But he's just missing that thing that guys that come up in the UFC seem to have built into them. Like, he's a great fighter. He's fun to watch. But you're even seeing desperation out of him now because, like, I'm sure you saw it. His attempt at the fish hook to get under Poirier, like, he's just a step behind. And so you're right. He's not the most naturally talented in the world, maybe because he didn't come over and train, you know, and get UFC level competition earlier. But now he's using everything that he can to try to win fights. And it's just, if I'm Dana, I don't even know where to match him up now. Gabe?
I am so messed up on this one because I never think that Dustin is for real.
And then he shows up and just pieces guys up.
But he still did not look like Chandler's more explosive. Like, like he does look, like I did not like this fight for Dustin, actually. And
I didn't either.
I don't know why I'm calling him by his first name. But I guess I don't like using a French accent. But
Poirier.
I feel like I'm showing off. But yeah. I don't know. It's just he's a boring guy. I hate it when he talks shit.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know how I've turned on him. Like, I can't figure out what kind of guy he is. Like, is he a good guy or is he a low-key asshole? Like, I don't know what my issue is, but I'm messed up about it. I feel bummed for Chandler.
I don't.
I feel good. Why not?
I feel bummed for Chandler.
That dude has put on what else would you want?
I would say he's one of the hardest workers in the UFC.
He's used his face as a punching bag to get pay-per-view sales. The guy's not a legitimate contender. Who has he beat? Who has he beat?
On, though. I agree. But he has pushed top 5 level fighters here to the end. Like, it's not like he's fighting nobody.
Okay,
now,
so
you're right. He's not. He's shown he's not contending for a championship.
So he's Derek Lewis?
But I think that the issue with him that's frustrating, and I'm not saying he's going to fix this. I think it's too late. But it is a mental thing. It is a discipline thing. He cannot, for whatever reason, he gets hyped that he can slug it out with everybody.
And he's a world-class wrestler.
Right. It's very hard to watch in that way, So, and yeah, I mean, what's weird is appears to be a really great guy.
Yeah?
Do you guys hold the fishhook thing against him?
Yes.
You
It's a
do?
bad look. Desperate, bad look.
I don't know why it doesn't bother me more.
Yeah,
Like,
it doesn't
I hate
bug
the
me that
finger
much, to be
pokes.
honest.
Hate the finger pokes. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is a bad look. I'm not saying it's a good look, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
Next segment.
Izzy.
The king has fallen.
Man, had I never been more depressed in my entire life than to watch that happen. And now I will say this. At times, guys just have your number, right?
It's like one of the most right I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, Gabe scared himself. I don't know, and I don't know what you have to run it back now. You have to.
If I was Izzy, I probably would do it now because I do it before he gets more grappling skills.
Exactly. Because Izzy did show an improved ground game. Like even though he was giving up weight, I think Izzy said after he rehydrated, he weighed in at about 192. Pereira, when he weight cuts and comes down that far, because he's fought as high as heavyweight before, he rehydrates to like 207 pounds. So for Izzy to be the lighter man and be able to throw the hooks in and do some ground and pound, I think in a rematch that will suit him really well. So yes, I would agree. Getting this done sooner rather than later would be in his best interest.
I was shocked.
Why you got to put that picture up?
At how much bigger, because it's so crazy how big his lip, like his mouth. I don't know, it's so stretchy. I'm always so surprised at how durable Izzy is.
Yes.
It always blows me away, actually, for some reason. But I was actually shocked at the size difference in the ring.
Yeah.
They say they're both 6'3". I mean, Pierre
looked taller.
Or whatever. Pereira looked 2 inches taller. He looked way bigger.
Yeah. And like I said, that guy's a natural light heavyweight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, he does have a little bit of a size advantage there. And I will say, my only gripe with this entire fight, and then I know Mike's going to move us along here, is because of what Izzy had established and what was on the line record-wise, title defense-wise, legacy-wise, you can't step in there. If he's not laying on the canvas, you got to let that go. You have to let that go.
Oh, I think that was good for him.
Izzy agreed with you.
Yes.
You have to let it go.
He came out and said that he wanted Steve Mazzagatti to lead the fight. Prior to the fight, he said that he wants him back in the UFC after the fight because he felt like he would have won the fight if it hadn't been.
Well, yeah, because think about it. Even if he just weathers the storm of Pereira in that
Pereira
last
wins
round,
the round, but Izzy wins the fight.
Yeah.
So, all right.
What were you seeing that makes you think he was going to weather that storm?
Izzy came out and said he would.
Yeah.
Well, I think he would have absolutely, not only lost worse, but he wouldn't be able to come back because he would have got pummeled.
He was still moving. Were his hands down? Yes. But the other thing is you got to take style into consideration. That is something that him and Anderson Silva have always done with their butts up against the cage. They have a tendency to drop their hands to look for pass attempts, like under, and they just use head movement. And I know obviously it looks like he's slumping there, but until he hits the canvas, you have to let it go. Have to.
When I see that picture, I just think there's a guy who's about to come back and win.
Anyways, how about maybe the biggest news?
Dana tips Francis versus
John Jones.
Oh, you put
amazing. That you broke that to me this morning.
Yeah,
I can't
right?
even believe
so it was kind of I'm not going to say that it was like breaking news, but I pay attention very closely when Dana speaks at the back end of these UFC press conferences because everybody's always pressing him for what the next big fights are. And sometimes he doesn't have anything, but when he puts his word on something, most of the time it's coming through, especially once he sticks a date on it. And he said pretty definitively, first quarter of next year, John Jones, Francis Ngannou is the plan. And I think, and me and Gabe were talking about this before the show, that is going to be the headlining fight to the Africa card that they're going to do. And I think you're going to get the Leon rematch, the Izzy rematch, and the Francis Ngannou first John Jones title fight on that card as like the three African princes because that's what they had titled themselves. And that's going to be a banger of a card. An absolute banger of a card.
Yeah, that's... I don't know if I'm overhyping this, but it feels like the first we've had super fights. I feel like it's the first
super
mega
card,
fight.
that's top to bottom.
Oh yeah, I mean top to bottom, but I'm just saying Ngannou and Jones alone, is a crazy.
It's such a big.
Can you
fight.
think of a bigger fight?
No,
I mean it.
And
really...
I don't, and it's so close because Ngannou's got the ability to land, hit the night button and put people away, but. Has anybody ever done that to John Jones?
Closest was what's his name? We just lost his fourth fight in a row.
Yeah.
What the heck is it? Why am I losing his name? Dark hair, whatever.
I know who you're talking about, but John Jones has never been put to sleep. John Jones has never even come close, really all that close, and he's walked through and picked apart bombers like Francis in the past.
Yes, he has.
Again, I know I'm probably just overhyped here, but this is. I haven't been this excited for a UFC fight since Liddell and Ortiz or something way back there. But
there's so much good that's going to come out of that card.
Even when I look at this, I go, and I know this is probably saying too much, but I feel like if Jones wins this fight, he is now just the hands down GOAT. You don't even bring up Habib. You don't even it's just
Totally
He is
agree.
it.
3 years in like 2.5, almost 3 years in solitary, changes divisions against the most dangerous man the UFC has ever seen at the heavyweight division, and in his first fight back, beats him on his home turf. Go.
Yeah.
Crown him.
All right, cool. Let us know what you guys think about that potential fight happening in the first quarter of next year. With that, we're going to transition into the NFL key games for Week 11
And 12.
and 12. True. This is a true thing
Yes.
that we're going to do Week 11 and 12. So Sunday Night Football in Week 11. Kansas City Chiefs at Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I'll keep this one pretty brief. I know we're kind of skimming on time here, but I just don't think the Chargers at the head coaching position and at a couple of positions that matter, like the offensive line right now, have the horses in the stable to beat Kansas City, who is operating at a very high frequency right now. I think it will be a fun game to watch, but it'll be another display of just how Patrick Mahomes has separated himself from the remainder of the league, and you probably wind up with a 33-24, 30-24 win Kansas City.
Yeah, the Chiefs were struggling early on because they didn't find the weapons to replace what they had shipped out.
Yep.
Bringing in Juju Smith-Schuster was a decent take. I think Kadarius Toney is the one that really puts them over the top,
yeah.
and he has been playing well as of late. I think this is going to be a Kansas City Chiefs rolling over the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday Night Football. I'm going to say 35-17 Chiefs all the way.
Yep.
Second game, let's go New York Giants at Dallas on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
This is the noon game during Thanksgiving, so I would say a lot of Thanksgiving dinners are noon to 3 o'clock
Yep.
starting right in there. So this is
Yep.
going to be the first game of the day. Thoughts on this one?
Saquon versus Micah Parsons is what this is pretty much going to boil down to. If the Giants can control the clock and keep Dak on the sidelines and keep their defense fresh, which the Giants have proven that they can play defense this year, they'll win this ball game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Giants, and I think it's going to be Saquon going over 200 because the one
Yeah.
thing that the Cowboys have shown is that they cannot stop the run, which is also going to be a theme of the Vikings game this week. It's going to be the Cowboys getting just absolutely gashed all Thanksgiving long.
24-21 Giants.
I think it's going to be 28-24 Giants.
There we
A
go.
little bit more scoring for the fans at home. And then our last game that we're going to talk about this Sunday, game of the week. Cincinnati goes into Tennessee, Nissan Stadium. This is a good game. This is a possible playoff matchup here.
This is a possible playoff saver for the Bengals, the way the bottom of the AFC playoff picture looks right now.
Alrighty, well, let's go to the glass half empty part of the show here. Nick, take this one away.
I mean, what are they going to be looking at? Potentially being 6-4. The Bengals offensive line is going to need to survive what Mike Vrabel is going to throw at them, which is going to be a lot of pressure in Joe Burrow's face, especially if Jamar Chase isn't back at that point. I don't know what his status is or if he's been back yet. Regardless, this is a part of a schedule for the Bengals that gets really dangerous. I think we talked about it when we did their schedule breakdown. It starts with Tennessee, and then I think they've got Kansas City, they've got Tampa, they've got, I think, Baltimore here still
This
to
is
play
what-
in the back end.
This is what a really good season does to a team,
meat
right?
grinder. And
Packers are going through the same thing.
it's just because they were in all reality, they were a last place team that got into the playoffs playing on a last place schedule last year. Let's be really honest about this. This is their first time that where for 17 games they're going to play a first place schedule, and it just so happens that the majority of the really competitive games are all crammed into the back end of the year. So it's going to be the truest test of how stable the Bengals are.
True, and I'm gonna say that they show how stable they are against Vrabel and the Titans.
I have the Bengals taking a loss 21-17.
I'm gonna say Derrick Henry has a great game. He has 150 and 2 touchdowns, but they still don't have a quarterback, in my opinion, in Tennessee. So I'm gonna say Cincinnati 28, Tennessee 17.
Yikes. All
There's
right.
too much offense on the Cincinnati side.
All right.
Let us know what you guys think about those 3 games. If there was another game that you want to talk about, leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
We'll switch over to our new segment. It's going to be our Would You Rather segment, NBA edition.
We haven't checked in on the NBA for a while, so I figured that this would give us an opportunity to do a little bit.
Right. So we're each going to pose 3 NBA Would You Rather statements to the other as our way of checking in on the association.
Yep.
All right. You ready for my first one?
Yeah, let's have at it.
Would you rather have the 2020 NBA championship ring on your finger
Yeah.
or Victor Wembanyama in your locker room.
Victor Wembanyama in my locker room.
Do you see what I'm getting at?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. For the fans at home, the Anthony Davis trade from New Orleans to Los Angeles gives New Orleans the pick that is going to lead to Victor Wembanyama because the Lakers suck.
Yeah.
And it's
Who's Victor
That's the
Wembanyama?
that's the 7'3" guy who moves like a freaking guard.
yeah.
That's right.
The Rudy Gobert with a handle and a jump shot.
He's insane.
Like a
Very
Chet
good.
Holmgren,
Junior
but
Manu
good.
Bol.
Yeah. Like a junior Manu Bowl. So yeah, I would much rather have Victor Wembanyama in my locker room.
Me too. Me too. All right.
All right, my
your
first one.
statement.
My first statement here is: would you rather be Dame in Portland or LeBron James in LA over the next 2 years?
Dame in Portland, because I think LeBron in LA is probably going to retire in the next 2 years.
Well, he's hopefully sticking around to play with Bronny, but there is a steady decline. LeBron James is no longer a top 10 player.
Bronny is not an NBA player.
Do you think anyone gives a shit about seeing them play together? Like,
Nope.
like as if we're all rooting for them. Like,
Uh-uh.
Only the LeBron people who think that he's better than Jordan.
And there's plenty of psych wards with those people in them.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. My second statement. Would you rather start a season 4-9?
He's
or
not even
6
as
and
good
8?
as Shaq. Sorry, I just had to get that in.
Very true.
Would you rather start a season 4-9 or 6-8? And actually, let's change that to: would you rather start a season 4-9 or 7-8? 7-8.
7 and 8. Yeah.
Okay. So relax. On We'll be okay.
All right. So
Finished
since
with the 7 seed last year at 4-9. We'll be okay.
Okay, so since you're throwing T-Wolves shots, I'll throw mine out there off the back of it. Here we go. Would you rather move both Cat and D'Lo or have to keep both for the next 5 years?
Oh, move them. 100%. 100%. 100%. All right. Third statement.
Relax, but I would like to get rid of 2 of our starters.
I would like to see D'Lo moved on in the next couple years. I'm okay with seeing Cat stay around for 5, but like if you're saying I have to keep both for 5 or get rid of them both, I would rather just.
Well,
get
they're
rid of
best friends. It's the most likely scenario. Cat would get upset if D'Lo left, and D'Lo obviously wouldn't be here if Cat wasn't here.
them. I mean, we could always just try to bring in Devin Booker like the plan was all along,
And
get
that
the
never
3
happened.
best
Oh,
friends.
no.
Would you rather see super teams in the NBA
Mm-hmm.
or force teams, like basically, or get rid of free agency?
Mm.
So whoever you're drafted by or brought up by in the G League is who you have to play for. So you're basically developing players.
I like the super team everyone.
You like the super team?
It's grown on me. I don't hate it. We have one right now. I can't complain. We don't play like
It's
it.
a little bit of a homegrown super team, though.
Yeah.
Other than
I mean,
Gobert.
and D'Lo.
Yeah, but like, how much does D'Lo really add to the super team?
We traded a lot for him.
How
Yeah,
about
but the value is.
Do you guys like super teams when, like, to me, there's a difference between when the GM trades versus when the players, arrange it amongst
So that's
themselves?
actually exactly kind of why
Bingo.
I put this in there, because I just thought it would stimulate a
Yeah.
good conversation.
Yeah.
Stimulated.
Good to know, Gabe. Good to know. My last one here is going to be, I'll tell you what. You want to go big picture hypothetical or player?
Why don't you just ask me a would you rather statement so we can continue on with our show?
Because
sir?
I got 2 left, and I
Then
wanna
ask
pick
them
one.
both.
All right, fine. Should the NBA expand, or would you rather see the NBA expand or begin to relegate 2 teams per year to and from the G League?
Would you be promoting G League teams then?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be really fun. I'm a huge fan of the promotion relegation thing. I really am.
I put that in there just for you.
I think that'd be really cool. The one thing you would have to do is cut G League ties with NBA teams.
Mm-hmm.
But that you could do that.
Yeah, you definitely could, especially with the way they think kids
Just
straight out of high
rebrand
school
them.
now. Yep.
Rebrand them. Yeah. I'd go that route.
There we go.
What's your second one?
Would you rather Luka be a career Mav or actually see LaMelo get to play as a Laker?
Honestly, the whole Laker thing has always made me want to puke a little bit. So I'm gonna say Luka career Mav. I think it's cool that the Mavericks have always had a European player that's better than everybody else my entire life.
Yeah, that's very
I'm
true.
cool with it.
They are.
When
they
you
are,
go play Dallas, you know that there's going to be somebody who can put the ball in the basket from wherever on the court, and they don't speak your language. It is what it is. All right. Speaking of that,
Oh,
let's
that's why
move
Mike's
on.
in a hurry.
What?
This is why Mike's in a hurry. All right, I'm just gonna.
Oh, geez. So for all of you fans out there of the most popular game in the world, we are going to talk about the World Cup real quick. So for those of you who don't know, you have to qualify for the World Cup. You qualify and get into a group stage. You play everybody in your group. You get 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, 0 points for a loss. 2 teams come out of each group and advance into bracket play depending on their seeding in their group and then their goal differential and different things like that. So the United States are in Group B with England, Iran, and Wales. This is going to be a tough group for the United States to escape out of. The United States are pretty young. They do have some older stars like Christian Pulisic at left wing. But I think...
And don't they have that hot chick, Alexi Lawless, too?
Yeah, so Nick thinks Alexi Lawless is really hot for all of you at home. We were talking about Alexi Lawless before the show, and Nick said some inappropriate things about Alexi
I'd
Lawless.
buy that for $1 or whatever. Yeah.
The team who's going to win Group B is more than likely England. England is just a really solid team. They have a lot of good players. Obviously, a lot of them play in the Premier League. United States should beat Iran, and I'm hoping they beat Wales. That's going to be the game that is the one to watch. If United States can beat Wales, they'll finish in the 2 spot in Group B and move on to bracket play. I know that the United States plays their first game on the 21st. It's Monday the 21st at 1 p.m. against Wales. So that's going to be the game right there that if we can get a win there, we're starting our World Cup off well.
Is this mixed gender? Or what?
No, this is men's.
What are the rules? How many people are on the field at once?
11.
Okay.
It's 11 on
And
11.
And they care if they win, like this is actually matters to them?
This is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The World Cup
for them.
usually matters. I'm pretty sure they're not satisfied with where it was being played.
To be honest, the World Cup hasn't mattered in the United States as much as pretty much anywhere else, obviously, just because we do have
real sports
American
everywhere
football and
else.
different things like that. I will say, though, with the popularity of television shows like Ted Lasso and Welcome to Wrexham, you've actually just seen an increase in popularity of the sport. To be honest, those shows help win me over a little bit.
Is the men's U.S. team marching Ryan Reynolds out there as the head coach or what?
No, they're not.
Oh, I'm not interested.
No, they're not. But yeah, it should be.
Where are they playing this year?
This is
Qatar.
in Qatar.
Oh, in guitar.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think about the United States and their chances in the World Cup. They're going to be basically in or out of bracket play by the next time that we see you.
Yeah. You know what I love about the World Cup? The fact that they host it every 4 years because that's how long it takes somebody to score in soccer.
That's just rude.
Shots fired.
Very
With that,
true.
if you are a sports fan with Sports Fan Friends, make sure you like and share on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Patreon.
Yeah.
Again, one comment, and we'll start our Twitch stream as well.
Just one.
If you prefer cable, we are on MCN6 in
We
the Twin
are.
Cities. Otherwise, you can use your Roku app and access MCN6 outside of the Twin Cities area. We should be on there Saturday evenings because we use expletives.
Well, so do our callers, apparently.
I guess so.
We know our demographic, folks. Glad to have you with us, as always, for yet another exciting Thursday of Sports Talk. Glad we got to cover everything that is going to be coming up over Thanksgiving before we see you again. Will it be December by the time we see him again? It will be December, won't it?
Yeah, it'll be December 1st.
It'll be December 1st the next time that we see y'all.
And Kirk Cousins will be an MVP candidate.
I will. I co-sign that 100%. Make sure that you take the time to enjoy, your family members over the weekend. Eat some turkey, have some stuffing, stay away from the yams. Until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun.